Can everybody see that okay? We're gonna run through, before we get into the articles for town meeting, what we thought we'd do, I think everybody's seen our spreadsheet at least at one point in time here, so we kind of give you how we came up with where we're at. This year was a little quirky, and you're gonna have to give me a couple seconds to stumble through it, because it's hard enough. We've been talking about it for 7-8 months. It's hard enough to grasp after 7-8 months that I've been trying to figure out a way to explain it to people. So if you have questions, just stop me at this point up here as I talk about the first chunk of the levy limit. So typically what we do every year is we have up here was our last year's town meeting, the actual budgets, what departments have requested there, and then we have what the finance committee is recommending in the last column. So what we do is we always start off with, we bring our the ending levy limit up for our new levy limit, which is $6,752,000. We add in 2.5%, and then we work with the assessors, and they come up with an estimated new growth number. This year they've estimated 130, which is actually better than we've had in the past. They're usually around 75 to 100. So the number is 130. That kind of gets us our end of the period levy limit. And then we add in any of the debt exclusions that we have on it. Right now we have the debt exclusion for the school, which is done. That was the administration building, correct? Was that just finished up? We have a sewer debt exclusion. Then we have Ruggles Lane roof, and we have the common project. If you notice, last year they were 182 and 115. This year it's a negative number. This is a quirk that's only going to hit us 1 year. And what has happened was simply a timing. I guess the best way to explain this in our budget was it was a timing issue. The permanent funding didn't get put in the fiscal year. So we taxed everybody last year saying, hey, the permanent finance is ready to go. We have to pay this debt. So we missed the fiscal year. So basically in a nutshell is we have your money. We're going to pay the debt, but we're not going to tax you again on it because we're 1 year behind in the financing. Everybody understand that? We were going to pay it last year. We took the money from there. We didn't pay it, so we're paying it this year. We don't have to tax you again because we're actually the money. So really what's going to happen is, now your tax rates went up because there's 2 projects. Next year they're going to go down, and then the following year they go back up again. So we're going to be on this little roller coaster of taxes. So this year it was the selectmen's fault, your taxes went up. Next year the finance committee saved it. Selectmen came back the 3rd year, took it back. So that's how we're going to play it. But really, so it's kind of a timing issue. So that's why those numbers are negative.
Could I just ask you a question? So last year, I'm sorry, Alicia Sherwood, Park Street. My taxes went up last year, and now my taxes have gone up 25% this year. So 25%?
It was voted by the residents of town meeting to do these projects.
So the whole town, everybody's taxes went up 25%?
Yes, not just.
And next year, how much are they going to go down?
I can't tell you exactly how much, but you should see a reduction because we're off a year on these projects. So
equal to the amount
that don't quote me. I don't know. I'm not going to go on record telling you exactly what your taxes will go down because there's other things.
So you don't have any clear picture either way then?
What do you mean?
In terms of what's going to happen with that number?
It should go down. I can't tell you it's going to be exactly the same because there's other factors that go into calculating that, not just this debt. So, but they should go down 1 year and then they'll come back up. But these were the 2 projects that town meeting voted to do. That hit your tax bill.
Is that is the common done being paid for then now?
Well, we're just going to start paying for it.
Right, but is there going to be another July 6th?
This should be the entire funding for the town project. So, and we really can't afford to come back and ask for more money anyway. So this is kind of what they have.
Yeah, because 25% is a lot of money. Okay, that's a hit.
Yeah. So that's where we got there. So then we added our revenue. We bring down our tax revenue. We do the exemptions, the cherry sheet numbers. The budget's not quite settled in Boston yet. We're looking at what the House passed and the Senate passed and kind of coming up with an estimate for our local receipts. So I ended our cherry sheet numbers. So those may change, they may not, may go a little higher, they may go down. There's not going to be a big swing in there. It may be a couple $1,000. isn't a huge swing. We add in our local receipts. Local receipts are made up of excise taxes, things like that. That number's really low now because we no longer have the landfill. It's our first full year without the landfill, so we survived that. So we come over with our total revenue, and then we have our expenditures. Quantum Regional School District, you just saw Dr. Marshall here. On the left, they asked for a 4.78% increase. We're recommending a 4. We'll kind of get to why as we go through this, where we're at. So we start scrolling through all the appropriations. You just keep going. We have all the ambulance, all the things that's already here. And then we get to other. The assessors this year, every year we have money in there for our recertification. We used to always carry it over in their budget, and then it was explained to us we should do that as an article every year. So we took it out of their budget, and that's what this assessor article is. We're just changing where we fund it from. So it's something we do every year. The snow and ice, the winter we had, we were $155,000 over in our snow and ice budget. The $94,000, the Civil War Monument. Last year, the state gave us the money, and they took it away. The project started, so as everyone knows that Memorial Day kind of heard the nice speech about how we started the project, the railing's done, we're already paying for it. There's money in the Senate and there's money in the House. There's the full 94 in the Senate, there's 25 in the House. Somewhere will be that balance, but we need to work on finalizing it, so we'll probably get all, if not some of that money back. So we'll go back into stabilization when we get it. Sidewalks, one of the things, and this is the selectmen really pushing, and we've been pushing it this year a lot, is asked for originally it asked for $60,000 to do sidewalk projects, continuing to improve sidewalks around town. In working with the selectmen, we said, you know what, we need to also address the fire department pages. We've been kind of not addressing a lot of other issues in town over the years, so we decided to take $20,000 from the sidewalk and put it into the pagers for the fire department. What's the exact number you guys are getting? 40. So this will replace all those and get them working with the new radios and everything else that we have. It's kind of
take us from low band to 400.
Then one of the things we typically try to do is all of our town employees that are not unionized or under contracts is try to help them out every once in a while. So we have $22,000 in here to do a 2% raise for town employees that are not under contract.
So it's not called, right?
That's not the goal. So, and then we throw in our state and county charges, and this comes up with our total expenditures of $11,354,384.64. So then, our other sources of funding that we use. The sewer pays, is self-sufficient. They pay their amount, $627. The ambulance, for the second year in a row, the ambulance doesn't bring in as much as the cost to run them. So their budget, $400,000 is like $395. They're able to provide $280,000. We are changing the company that collects for the ambulance company. We're hoping to see that number go up next year. Unfortunately, we can't, you have to budget by what you have in the bank at this time. So even though we expect revenues to go up, we can only budget what we have in the bank for them. So there's no 280 in the bank. The other item on the water department, 519. Transfer station receipts. Every year, for many years now, we've used your bag fees that you pay to help run the Board of Health and the landfill expenses, for the town. This is the last year we have this $118,000 coming in, so keep that in mind as I talk about why we're making some of the decisions we're making. The sewer for $75,000 towards their debt, the water for their debt. We're taking $249,667 out of stabilization. This is technically to pay for the snow and ice and for the monument. We're hoping to get the monument money back, so we're hoping to put that back in. Then we have the Bruce Lane, the Holden Hospital money. We're taking $10,000 out of there, that account. The money from the debt exclusion that we have to account for on the other end, the 118, and the common project. 79 and the common project. So where we're at after all this is we're still about $15,000 short. But what does this budget also include? For years we've been trying to figure out a way to get, we lost a police officer years ago. This budget includes the police officer coming back for the police department. It also includes, we lost a highway worker many years ago. This includes a highway worker again too. So one of the issues we've had over the years is, as all you guys know as department heads and members of boards, is your budgets have basically been level funded. Every year we've level funded everything. We've bought used firefighting equipment. We've kind of have not addressed some major big purchases for the year. We haven't added staff back on. We felt as a board that this was the year to start addressing a lot of issues that we have coming up. That's part of the reason why the school budget we're asking to keep at 4% instead of the 4.78 that they're asking for. It would add on another $36,000 to the school budget, but we're already 15 short, so that puts about 50,000 in the hole if we would fully fund it. We need to start addressing other issues in town. Let's be honest, the fire department. If I explain this right, and correct me if I'm wrong, your tanks were old. Now they become unserviceable. Now they become unserviceable, and we can't even get parts anymore to chase. So 28 air tanks from your firefighters are no longer usable. So they cost $6,500 a piece. So in the fall, we're going to be coming back to you saying when our free cash gets certified, we need to address that issue next.
We also put in a grant to get those. We haven't heard, but there is a possibility we'll get that funding.
So we're hoping to even get half of it or some of it. We're hoping to do something. If we don't, unfortunately, we have to do it. Not unfortunately, we need to do that.
We put in a grant and we got $50,000 last year for the filming station to fill this. So we're $50,000 ahead to a grant already. So we're hoping to get the grant for the rest of it. If we do, we won't have to come to the town. But if we don't, we have to come.
Either way we do it, we got to do this. We have to do it. And then we run into the issue of our fire trucks have not been adequately addressed over the years. So we're going to be coming back at some point to look at that. What we're hoping to do with the fire truck is start putting some money away every year. Is maybe 150 grand this year, 150 grand next year, and within 2 or 3 years come up with enough money to purchase something. But time is of the essence with that. We've really been lucky with that truck we got from Pittsburgh. 8 years? 5? How long was it?
7 years.
That's 7 years.
It was supposed to be a 3-year bid.
But we are going to have to start addressing other issues. For years, all these budgets have been level funded, and the schools has got increases every year. But we need to start putting everybody on the same playing field now. Is what we're asking to do. Any questions on?
If everything's been level funded, why are you allowing the school to ask to? Why are you approving the school for 4%? That's not level funded, correct?
No, that's not.
Okay, so if you want to put everybody in the same plane.
So you got to remember, we have this conversation all the time. We're not the school committee. We don't set the school budget. We don't debate the school budget. They present us a number. And what we have to do as a board and as a committee is to fit that number as best we can into all of our other needs and expenses and all that.
So we could not approve it also.
That's what we're asking you to do. We're saying we can't afford what they asked for.
No, we could not approve even the 4%. We could not approve anything. And we could.
We can make that motion at town meeting that you get that and get up and debate that.
But the finance committee is approving 4%.
That's what we're recommending.
That's what you're, not approving. You're recommending 4%.
We don't approve any funding.
No, you're recommending 4%. However, you're recommending all the other departments level funded.
But we have increases for some of them. We're giving 2% raises for folks too. Hopefully,
That's,
that we can do that.
that's 2% on a smaller number.
Yeah.
This is 4% on a bigger number. So my question is that why are you recommending 4% when everyone else you've recommended only 2%, and this is 4% on a larger number? It's a significant amount of money. Why is the finance committee not recommending only 2%?
The problem we can run into every year is we know how to add numbers too, but we also know how to count. We've stood in front of town meeting for many years and have lost this battle. Years ago when we recommended a lower number and the school came in and took away our stabilization from us. So for planning purposes, we have to plan as close as we can because while we get frustrated because we can't adequately fund the departments, the reality is too is if we're not prepared to be close to this, then we're just going to all be sticking to ourselves at town meeting.
But of course, now we have secret ballot opportunity. Previously, we didn't have the secret ballot. That's when the school department came in and took, as you use the words, took it away from us. And now we have a different playing field, so to speak. So again, why does the finance committee not?
Town meeting votes to lower the school budget. Trust us, we have a whole list of items we can change right at town meeting and fund. We have a list of things we need to do. So, but unfortunately, for planning purposes, we have to be ready. We've been through this enough now to know we have to, at least for planning reasons.
Okay, thanks.
But your estimate is that the 0.75% we could probably get away with.
I mean, when we put the numbers together, we kind of like, okay, and really what we did at the end of the day was we did what we felt were our priorities this year. The sidewalks, the containment for the pagers, the police officer, the highway, the rate, the 2% for the town employees. We got to the end, like, where else can we afford to go? Like, I don't mind being off 15. I think if you guys have heard me say it, if we're within 25 grand, that's this is like grenades. It's just got to be close. So, and because everything always shakes out as we go through the year, so something happens. So, I'm not close to 50.
Hey, maybe this is out of line, but do you know what happened to the $3 million that Mr. Brewer got for the town?
The $3 million?
Yeah. Is that going back?
No, we still have it. We have it for 5 years.
2020.
In 2020 for the public safety building. We still have it. It can't be used in our operators for a public safety building. So it's in an account which they put aside for us for 5 years to come up with a plan.
And at that point, it's not used, it's
Goes back.
returned.
Okay, good. But they're working weekly on it.
Oh, yeah.
There are weekly meetings to make this progress. Why?
Planning purposes, we meet with an architect.
No, but I mean, that's gonna be so much more money. I don't know about the other streets in this town, but it seems like people are just deserting their houses and leaving town. I can't afford too much, like Mrs. Sherwood, I can't afford too much raising of the taxes.
The $3 million is not coming out of town funds.
No, but you can't build a building. My husband is a carpenter. I know how much money it costs to build a building. For 3 different public service companies, you need something that, for the firemen, they gotta be able to have hot showers and all that stuff.
If we got $3 million, we're gonna build something for $3 million.
You can-
Regardless of what we're gonna do, we're gonna build it.
And that for all 3, or?
Well, that's the thing, is like you said, with the cost of everything, we can't fund that. So our hope is we build with what we have now, and then when some of the debt and stuff that we have drops off, so that way it's not gonna burden all of us as taxpayers, we can come back and say, okay, we need to add on. But we can't give up $3 million. Hubbardson voted yesterday not to raise and appropriate over $7 million. We have that gift of $3 million. If we give that away, that $3 million is coming out of our pocket later on. So we have to decide when we're going to do that. We're already shutting the lights off on us. But if someone gave you $3 million and you said, you have to do something with it. So we, as a committee and with the selectmen, we sat down and said, all right, we need to build something for that $3 million and get that done as a base, and then build off of that. But as the debt drops, and we'll start seeing debt drop off starting next year and then continue. 2019 will be a bigger drop. But we don't want to just forgive and get rid of $3 million. You build what you can now, and then after that's built, the debt will start dropping off, and we can start adding more stuff for the ambulance, a whole section for the fire department, and a garage for the police or something. So we're looking at different ways of keeping it so not one penny comes out of our tax, because we can't, none of us can deal with this thing.
I have one more question about the bags, the bag fee.
Yes.
I was always under the impression that that was to get ready for the dump closing. I didn't know it was funding the health department. When did that happen?
Well, for years ago, we also had put away $195,000 into a landfill stabilization account too, to prepare for that day. And I think if things go as planned, it's not finalized yet, but we may not even need to tap into that $195,000, that there may be a smooth transition to a new provider for town. So it's going to work out that way. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Any other questions about the budget?
Dave, I have a question. It's related to the things fiscal.
Yeah.
Several years ago, we saw a lot of reportage about monies that had been taken from the town. Do we have any update on where we are? Will the town be reimbursed?
So there's a couple issues there. One is that's it's a legal matter that's still pending. And I think there is things going on. From the last I had heard, her attorney had sent a laundry list of items that that they were requesting. So there's still all this information sharing going back and forth still. So that's still pending. The other thing too was her bond was for $150,000. So we could recoup $150,000, but I think we can't do anything yet because
Pretty much it has to be,
the whole case
case
is.
has to go.
So until there's a resolution to that issue too, the claim on $150,000 bond is still kicking. So, but there is, we're all very frustrated because it just seems to be moving at a glacial speed here. But, every once in a while we do hear back saying, well, they requested this now and this attorney's asking for this, so there's the information. The other thing too is we've gone through a lot over the past couple. I mean, really, if you think about everything the town went through with not just the economy going bad and everything else, but to have all the other items that came up with us, and then this year, we were playing catch up on getting the receipts up and all that. So, any stuff you heard about us not getting our local aid, we did receive our local aid. Everything is being addressed. And we're hoping to wrap all that up soon too. So those issues are being worked on. So it's not as earth-shaking as folks have played it out to be. But we feel pretty good about it. We have over $1 million in the bank. Our library's open, our senior center's open. We're putting police officers back on. We're going to start addressing the issues. So and I think a lot of it has been because folks go to town meeting and work with us. Our department heads do a great job of managing their budgets. They stay within the limited funds that they have, and we've all been working together on it. So, there's been some negative, but I think there's been more positive over the years. Any other question on the budget part of it before we go on the articles? Everybody here has this, right? No. Anybody else need one? Everybody else?
Yeah, I'll take
Did you get one back there? We don't actually have a ton this year that we've had in the past. Article 1 through 6 are the general articles that we do every year. Article 5 is our revolving funds. 1, 2, 3, 4 are just routine ones. The Article 7 is a new one that we're going to be doing every year. This is for the assessors. Like I was saying earlier, we used to do this in the budget every year. We took it out of the operating budget. We're going to do it. We have to do it as an article. Article 8, amendments to appropriations and sources of funds. This $35,000, so what we're doing is we're supplementing, we had a couple items in this year's budget that, because of overtime and some other issues, the departments had overspent them, and we'll have those listed for you for town meeting. But this is $35,000 for this year. The Article 9 is to do the snow and ice removal. For the overtime and part-time, that was $37,000, and then the expense account was $118, that's Article 10. Article 11 will be all the budgets that we just kind of went over. You don't want to go through line by line, did you? We went over the summaries up here. Does anybody have a question on the line by line appropriation? I'll give you a minute to scan through them.
The snow removal expenses is salt, sand,
Salt,
fuel.
sand, yeah, correct. And then the overtime was the pay above and beyond the 40 hours.
Are we eligible for any of that FEMA or whatever?
We do, yeah. Unfortunately, it usually takes time to get it, and it gets put into our, it kind of wipes into our free cash number eventually. So that's Article 11. If at any point in time you have a question about a line item in the budget, just stop us. We'll go. I'm going to go through the rest of the articles.
I probably didn't hear
We'll figure it.
Thank you.
Article 12 and 13 are the sewer and water budgets. We did those separately because they're enterprise funds. Article 14 again is the pages for the fire department. The ones you have now are done, right? They're not working under the new radio?
They're going to be phased out because Rutland's not going to support low band.
Article 15 we talked about, we're going to take that out of stabilization for the Civil War Monument. Hopefully between now and town meeting we'll have a better idea of how the state ended up. They're wrapping up their budget hopefully by the time we have town meeting. Number 16 is for the sidewalks to raise and appropriate. 17 is the land acquisition for as part of the handing over the transfer station. This will be the land for the transfer station's on to take it from resource control. I lost my spot. 18 is the land on South Street for the public safety building. To accept that from Southern Hills. 19 is, should be given, this is to deal with the Henry Woods Memorial Library, but this may not happen this year, right? We'll have more, we'll know by town meeting if it is or not. And then Article 20 is the bylaw. You want to explain that, Heather? Because you know this. This is somebody can't find all that.
This is the appendix in the back. Basically, the selectmen adopted a special events permit for events that affected public safety, because there were some events in the past that occurred that we were relatively unprepared for our different public safety departments. So this was to make all our departments, police, fire, EMS, aware of those events so they could have traffic plans or have details for police officers or have an ambulance, standing by. All those different things that come up for large events. And this would also include such events like road races, which they already come to the Board of Selectmen for permission anyways. It's just making sure everyone's safe. That's the essence. It's not bypassing any board. They would still have to go to planning board if it was required, and conservation if it applied. This is basically just for those types of events, as special and public safety.
In the last sentence, it says the Board of Selectmen may, in its sole discretion, waive any and all foregoing requirements with regard to any proposed events where the size and nature of the event does not justify the issuance. I mean, doesn't that give the selectmen undue power? Excuse me, I shouldn't use the word power. Undue control of this? I mean, this special events bylaw speaks to the bylaw. It doesn't speak to any fees of the bylaw or cost of the bylaw. But it also says in the end that they may decide not to follow this bylaw.
No, it's basically, so it may apply, it may not apply. So this type of event, to submit an application, if it doesn't apply, they would put it does not apply. No.
But there's no fee involved, there's no cost.
That's in the permit application, and it's, which they set at a public hearing this year, and it's $100.
$100 for any event.
For a special events.
For a permit for a
For
special
a special
event.
event. However, there are events going on now. There have been events, there will be events, 3 events this coming year, where there will be over 10,000 people in the town. And now the town is having significant fiscal difficulties. Could we not put a per person fee on these events?
When you said,
For instance,
here's just a problem, I'll answer your question. When you set fees, you can't do it, you have to set a fee for the cost of you managing the permit. You can't do it to solve the budget problem. So we have to keep that in mind. Whenever fees are set for licenses or for this or that, there has to be a cost associated with it.
Is that a Massachusetts law?
It is.
Yeah, you can
Okay,
tax.
you just can't say we're going to set a fee.
So you can't add it, because other towns, I believe, have added a value-added tax. When you travel in Europe, you buy something, there's always a VAT. However, other towns, from what I believe, have added, in addition to the ticket charge, have added a certain amount of monies that go into the coffers of the town, for the benefit of the town, over and above the ambulance and police and fire and all the other issues. So when I see this sentence here saying that the selectmen have sole discretion, I think it gives the selectmen a lot more power to do whatever they feel like. And our government, our democratic government, is for the people, by the people.
All this does is it says that if your event doesn't require a $100 permit, you don't have to pay it. That's all this says, is that if your event doesn't require you to go through this permitting, that the selectmen can say, you know, you don't have to do that permit, you have to do this lesser one. That's all that one says.
I don't understand this fully, that's all. But if there's a Massachusetts law,
One week. One week to tell me.
no, but I don't understand this.
Yeah.
I mean, I've come here just to try to understand the budget, and I don't understand why we give the selectmen full power to make decisions like that, when currently we have 3 events where 10,000 people or more will be coming into this town and using the roads and using facilities and using whatever, and I just think the town can do better, that's all. I'm not talking about me personally, I'm just saying the town can be more entrepreneurial for the benefit of the town, not for the police or the fire or the ambulance or for any of the individual facilities of the town. And I believe other towns have been more entrepreneurial, that's all.
Prior to this permit being enacted, there was no recourse. So any event like that could come in, and our police may not be notified, may or may not be. We would have been unprepared if there was an emergency. So this puts in something in place where every department is notified. They sign off on if it needs a traffic plan, a pedestrian plan,
Evacuation plan.
evacuation plan, fire plan.
EMS fire.
understand that we can, I think we can do better. That's my personal opinion. I want to go on record for that. That's my personal opinion. We as a town can do better.
And any of those departments are reimbursed for those details that are needed.
Additional permits that may be required.
Right.
I read between the lines, outdoor events. Not every time it's a church service or a funeral. Could that be thought of as qualifying as a special event?
That hasn't been an issue, no.
This kind of comes out of the Colebrook, because that's what we do about and, things like that happen. This isn't for the farmer's market, this isn't for a church dinner, things like that. This is for the larger.
Even though this text doesn't really tell you what it does apply to and what it doesn't.
That's why the selectmen have the discretion to say.
Oh, boy.
Not playing anything, are you? Not playing anything, are you?
Yeah, Attorney Beard felt that, it's really not a zoning issue. When this company comes in, is going to do this, this Warrior Dash. But he just felt it's not a zoning issue, but therefore, by creating this, it just helps the town of Barre. And that's why he ended up doing it this way. So if you've got a wedding at the bandstand, as such being a small issue, that's not a special event. But when you have an event with 10,000 people that are coming into the town, that is a different situation.
If you define the special event as any event open to the general public.
And again, it's public safety issues that we're dealing with. When we had the situation with Colebrook, as you all know, there were 24 police calls, 24 ambulance calls that night, that we were unprepared for. And we're just trying to simplify it. And at this point, we feel that this is the best that we're doing at this time. And maybe in a year, we'll look to see how it all goes, but we have to have something, because we've had nothing and we want to be prepared safety-wise.
It seems to me that we're foolish if we don't learn from our own experience. And having had these experiences, we put something in place to try to deal with them. You're always fighting the last war,
Yeah.
but it seems silly not to try to do something.
And it will evolve.
Mr. Chairman, can I comment? Sure. Maybe this will make it a little easier for some of the folks to understand the reason behind this. If you don't already know, there was an event held up at Colebrook. It was not advertised. It was told to our police chief that it was this event. Well, come on a Friday afternoon, now all of a sudden it's a different event, and there's 2,000 people there. 2,000 people jammed into this place. The police department is like, whoa, I need to have officers up here. We need to notify the rescue squad. There needs to be ambulance people available for this. The fire department has to be notified. And none of this, it struck us like that. Well, that's what brought this about. It was to give us the town a notification so they can work with these event planners to make sure the events go smoothly and safely. Not only for the people attending the event, but for area residents who live in the area. And I think it's a great step forward because we learned a very valuable lesson on trying to come up with a plan for what happened last time. So if that helps you guys understand it a little bit, I hope it does. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I think it makes a lot of sense to have this, and I like the last sentence, which puts some discretion and puts, 3 human beings into, okay, is this needed or is it not needed? But to Ed's point, is the language clear enough so that, every small activity, if there's a church fair in the autumn or something, or that they don't have to go through this, is it clear enough about that?
It's easier sometimes to waive things than it is to try to list every possibility out.
As long as the selectmen don't suddenly get, flooded with.
No, that's not what we want.
More paperwork.
In creating this, we tried to use as many examples, not only within our community, within other communities that may come here. You know, we could have been very descriptive and listed everything and may have forgotten something.
Yeah.
We thought that with this, it was, you know, enough, but not too much.
You know, the Warrior Dash and some of these that are great for the town, so we don't want to discourage people either, so we don't want to put something in place to chase people away or overcharge or have them not come to town. So, you know, trying to figure out a way to make it worthwhile so they come every year. Any other questions on anything that we're doing? No? So every year we try to pick the one article that will cost the most couple. Write it on a piece of paper, leave it up there. Everyone pays it $5.
It's always side.
I think it's 20 this year.
Sealed and
I know, by the time you get 20, you're tired.
Yeah. So, if you have any questions, let us know. We'll be around for a little while longer. We got to wrap up some things. What, 6:30? 6:30 we're starting?
Yes.
At 6:30 on Tuesday, bring your friends. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Good.